We talked about paying the price in the last episode, but the good news is that purpose doesn't end in pain. It matures into joy.
That's right. And in this 8th episode of Pivot on Purpose, Dr. Stacy and I reflect on the deep satisfaction, peace, and fulfillment that comes from living aligned over time. If you're wondering whether faithfulness is worth it, this conversation offers a realistic and hope-filled answer.
Yes, you don't want to miss this discussion, which for me is the icing on the cake of what we've been talking about in this entire series. Let's begin.
Let's get started.
Hello and welcome to the Pivot on Purpose podcast, episode 8. This is Purpose Demands Proof. So happy to be here with you. My name is Dr. Stacy Merida, and I'm honestly in awe because I am joined by my mentor, the one and only Dr. John Stanko.
Stacy, you are so kind, and thank you for the kind words, and thank you for the opportunity to do this. You really championed this and put this together, and we each had to travel a little way to come and participate. But what a great investment!
Thank you.
And I'm trusting that the chemistry and the content has spilled over, and will do so for many years. And that people will get to enjoy this at least in part as much as we have enjoyed what we're doing here and what we're going to continue to do from this point forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for giving of your time. I know you're in the skies most of the time, going from one country to another continent, and thank you for taking time to be here because we have some great information that we hope will help some people.
Yeah, some stories and some testimonials and some testimonies. And, you say I'm in a plane, I'm traveling. That was always my dream. There was a book written years ago, I probably were talking mid-'80s, if Aristotle ran General Motors. And I apologize, I forget the author's name. It was a very well-selling book. I got on a plane one day back in the 80s, maybe early 90s, or the years all start to go together. Anyway, I get on a plane, I get upgraded, sit next to a man. It's him.
Wow.
In first class.
Wow.
And he wrote another book, if Harry Potter, it was just another catchy. But I said, this is what I want to do. I was doing some of it. But I was working and family and so, but I said, that's exactly what I'm doing. That's great. I've alluded to the seminar that I attended in Seattle that talked to us about cognitive issues and how we think. But they said, we spend so much time planning our birthday celebration or a Christmas day. They said in most cases, the days turn out exactly the way we wanted them because we invest so much in planning. They said, why don't we do this for the rest of our lives? And it's just, again, one of those, wow. You are exactly right. So what's my ideal life? Now, I know as people of faith, where's God involved? You want to do God's will. But Saint Augustine prayed. He said, I pray that God will change my heart, and then I do what I want. And he was so confident that God was working on the inside of him that what he wanted to do, he believed was in alignment with what God wanted him to do. And I lived that. I've believed that. So the travel, I wanted to, that I've prayed, and I want to travel. So therefore,
you're traveling.
I'm traveling.
There you go.
And I've prayed. And I want to write, so
you're writing.
I'm a writer. And I've written books, and I want to help other people, so I start a
publishing
company.
There you go.
So this is not rocket science.
It's not.
This is, but I'm not starting a trucking company. No. I'm not starting an IT company. I'm not starting a music company. I'm doing it according to who I am, and I'm not afraid. Or at least I learned to deal with the fear. Or face the fear, and then I have scripted a life that I'm living. And when people say I'm living the dream, I
You
am
are living
living
it.
the dream.
Yeah.
And of course, I have a wonderful family, very supportive. I know you do too.
Mm-hmm.
But, and so I don't know how many days I have left. So therefore, I want to keep scripting them. I want to keep planning them. So this fit in between a trip to New York
Mm-hmm.
and going home and had other things to do. So I just trusted that it was going to work out, and it did.
And it did
Yeah.
beautifully.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking the time out
Well,
and for doing
again,
this.
this is pure joy. This is why does a bird sing? Why do we podcast? Because we love it.
We love it.
Because it's not a matter of we hope it has a huge following. We
Sure.
hope it helps a lot of people.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we're doing it just because we have something to talk about. We enjoy doing it, and we go from there. So
Yeah.
thank you for putting it all
My
together.
pleasure.
A
Yeah.
lot of faith went into it, and a lot of open doors for where we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We won't get into all that, but how just special the environment is, and just driving in today in Washington D.C. Very very heady wine, very special place. So
Yeah.
you know what's going on in your life from this point. This is the last in our initial series. We're going to be doing more of this, but what's on your agenda? What's on tap? What are you looking for?
I'm going to do a rebrand,
Mm-hmm.
especially as it relates to social media.
Mhm.
I got to get connected with people, and that.
Because you're so dynamic.
Oh, you're
so
too kind.
yeah.
You're
You
too
just
kind.
they're waiting for you, the public. But
Aw.
anyway, so I interrupted you. Go
No,
ahead.
no, you're fine. So yes, I've been pretty busy being a mommy,
Yeah,
and that takes a lot of time.
a little
you
bit of
know,
energy. Yeah, a
you
little
know,
bit
with
of
being a
time.
professor, associate
Yeah.
dean, and
Mhm.
a wife. All of that. It's like I just need one more job, right?
Yeah, you're right. One more role. Yeah, bring it on, Lord. Yeah.
Yeah. So now that I've pivoted,
Mm-hmm.
transitioned somewhat out of higher ed from the day to day of that, now it's like I need to connect with my people.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing like getting that feedback and
Yeah.
having that relationship with people. And the easiest way to do that is through social media.
Yeah.
I taught it as far
Mhm.
as, part of in higher education, part of the marketing and
Sure.
entertainment space. That's our medium now.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've got to do that personally.
Yep.
So I'll be working on that.
Yeah, it is.
Connecting.
It's just such a gift. It is. The pandemic really. I thought I was all in before then,
Mhm.
but when the pandemic came, that was what I had to use,
Yeah.
and I was fundraising for projects in Africa, and so I started to do Facebook Lives. I call them Facebook Alive because it comes alive when I come on. And they were 30-minute sessions where I would literally just take chapters from my books or the Monday memo that I had written
Yeah.
that week or my Purpose Study Bible entry
Mhm.
for the week. And I would just share on that and give people updates, and people loved it. And so
Nice.
I've done hundreds of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then every day I try to start my day with 5 or 6 what I call proverbs,
Mhm.
just short statements, blessings even that I bestow on people. I still do a fundraiser for Africa every month, and people contribute to that. When I'm home, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I do Facebook Alive. But every morning when I get up, I do a daily devotional. We've pre-recorded it,
Mhm.
and in a studio, so it's only 2 minutes,
Mhm.
and it's Spanish subtitles.
Okay.
And so then I go through my iteration every morning. I start by putting it on my app, my mobile app,
Mhm.
and then I go from there. I go to TikTok, and from TikTok I go to Instagram, and I
Nice.
go from Instagram. I copy all the text, and I go to I do it in an email,
Yeah.
and then I go to my personal blog, and I
Wow.
put it there, and then I go to YouTube, and I put it there, and I take the link from YouTube and bring it back to
Wow.
my website,
Yeah.
and I do all of it there, and I put that out. Then I go to Facebook, and because I'm linked to Instagram, I take the Facebook entry for the day off for the
Okay.
daily devotional. Then I do 6 or 7 proverbs. I put a blessing
Wow.
for people. Then I go get the video that has the Spanish subtitles, and I put it with a Spanish heading on Facebook. and I publish it there. And so I have thousands of people through all those entities that every morning or sometime during the day are accessing my daily devotional. Then I discovered if I post on Facebook and Instagram 12 hours later and TikTok, I get a whole new audience.
Wow.
So I go and do that.
Okay.
So I've laid the foundation in the morning to be able to do that. And even when I'm traveling, I'm in Amsterdam and in the morning, even at 6, but now that's strange. That is unusual. And I am not recommending you or anybody do that. But when I talk about it, do I sound like I'm suffering?
No, you sound pretty joyous.
I'm doing it because I love it.
That's great.
I'm following the joy. If God is love and you do what you love, you have to be doing God's will. So when I do my Facebook Live, I get Pakistan, Bangladesh, Kenya, Malawi, Zambia, the United States, and then it's there for a month and people access it from all over the world.
That's awesome.
And I say to myself, why wouldn't I do this? The only reason would be is if I demand it to monetize, and I'm at the beginning stages. I'm not getting millions of views to command a great amount of money, but I am seeing some financial return from it. But that's a byproduct.
Sure.
That's not the reason that I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And so when I go to Kenya, where I'll be from our recording now in about a month, people will be caught up with me. Oh, we see that you did some podcasting with, and they'll know you. Oh, and they will, how's Stacy doing? Do you think she'll ever come over?
But and the answer is yes.
Yeah, the answer. But I'm connected.
Right.
And so it's, and so I'm taking portions of my books. I'm taking quotes from my books. I'm doing the daily devotional, and I'm doing everything I can to share what I have with what I believe is an audience, a willing audience, an audience desirous of who I am. Yeah. And I can honestly say the same thing awaits you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks. I'm excited.
You're a rock star in this, and to be. All you have to do is, and I know you just ticked off enough roles that you have in your life that would be. There's no way you can add another one, but I'm trusting that you'll find a natural way. It may involve your children from time to time. It may be something you aren't expecting, and people will they'll love it because people would love to have access to you. You're very welcoming. You're very warming. And the reason I'm saying all this is because this is purpose. Yeah. This is the purpose quest. See, you could say, well, you're a very warm, engaging person. Somebody could say, well, my mother taught me, my father, if you didn't say hello to people, look them in the eye. That's not it. You're such a great cook. Well, my grandmother had a restaurant, and so she taught. No, and if people have been receiving compliments, if you've been receiving compliments throughout your life about something, those are messengers that God has been sending you to give you a clue.
That's true.
People would always tell me you're so organized. The job offers would come, which were compliments in a way. We want you. We are entrusting this opportunity to you. It's never been hard. So we want people to just look at the obvious and see it for the supernatural aspect that it has, that other people say, I wish I was like that. Yeah. You're such a good listener. Oh, well, I'm just a polite person. It's deeper than that. And that's what we've spent these hours trying to communicate, to not look past the basics, not look past what I call the simple things.
I agree.
And so, you are the whole package communication-wise. So why wouldn't somebody who's interested in purpose, why wouldn't God bring them to your world? Because he can entrust those people to you, and then if he knows you will be faithful with the opportunity. Now you have an obligation.
You do.
Now you have a constituency. You have an audience who needs your voice. So, and I've built that. People need to hear from me,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't apologize for that. They follow me,
Mm-hmm.
among many others, I'm sure,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm contributing something to their life. This is pretty cool stuff,
That
isn't it?
is. That is. I'm blown away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now this session, as you said, is purpose brings pleasure. After we had purpose brings pain in the last episode,
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about this throughout, but it's worth talking about again. Purpose, the joy aspect is just vital. You've got to find, people have got to find their joy, and stop trying to figure out how it's all going to work out and just do it.
Just do it.
Comment on that for us. Talk to us about that
Mm.
joy and doing what you love, and you've talked about it before, how it's led your life, how it's taken you from one the nectar of one flower to another,
Amazing.
and you've never had a pause.
No. Um, for me, the pleasure is seeing the end of the labor,
Mm,
being successful at it. That's the satisfaction. Like, yeah, this was a hot mess when I walked in. Now, hopefully, I've been able to leave it in a condition
mm-hmm,
where someone else can come and do the maintaining of it.
mm-hmm.
Because I'm never there to maintain.
Right.
Every situation,
Once the order is created, there's no need for
there's no
you.
need. And then
Mm-hmm.
that's boring to me. So
Right.
now it's off to the next challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So now I get excited, like, oh, okay, what's next? Because I know there's going to be a next. And that's the pleasure piece of, wow, look where we started, look where we are. That's pleasure that people can appreciate and thank you for
Mm-hmm.
bringing that order out of chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Mm-hmm.
it's on to the next assignment. And that's what I say is like, okay, what's the next assignment? Let's
Mm-hmm.
go. Strap
Mm-hmm.
in, put on your seatbelt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would think, you promote a concert, you market it,
Mm-hmm.
and then people come. That's just got to be just a
Yeah,
buzz. Just
of
that's it.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're marketing a record,
Hmm.
same thing.
What was it in academia? What was it in the classroom? What was the joy? What was the
Mm.
pleasure that you kept you coming back year after year, and you're a year older, the students are the same age, but
Yeah.
you're right back in there. What was the pleasure?
Yeah.
What was the joy?
Well, I learned earlier on that I was a different type of teacher
Mm-hmm.
than a lot of the
I told
academics.
you. See, I told you you're a good communicator, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
And once I figured that out, it's like, all right, if I can have the autonomy to make this course the way that I feel like would be teachable to the
Mm-hmm.
students, they still came out with the same learning
Mm-hmm.
objectives, but
Mm-hmm.
I taught it differently, then, with that academic freedom, we're going to have fun. And every class, I would always tell them at the beginning of the semester, we're going to learn. You're going to
Mm.
learn in here, but we're going to have fun doing it. This is not going to
Mm-hmm.
be boring. So buckle up. And they loved that because it was a different approach. And I think what gave me that was coming from industry where a lot of professors may not have,
Mm-hmm.
they were
Right.
just strictly academics.
Purpose is practical.
Purpose is
You lived
practical.
there, but go ahead.
Then I
Mm-hmm.
would bring that practicality into the
Mm-hmm.
classroom. So most of the time it was about projects.
Yeah.
Sure, I can give you the information. We can have an exam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to have grades.
Sure.
That's how we evaluate you.
Unfortunately.
But let's make it a project. And I wanted to have real life projects.
Mm-hmm.
So I would use my contacts in the industry, do partnerships. Hey, what if you had a whole team of people that could analyze problems that you're having
Wow.
in your company? You don't have to pay them. You just have to give us access.
Mm-hmm.
And I had so many leaders to be like, y'all would do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, here's this. Can we've got this marketing situation. We've got this, having this difficulty with the artists in this area, their social media. What do we need to do? The students, they come with these fresh ideas. They're the
No,
new
they're
generation.
students. They couldn't have it. No,
Are you
they,
kidding
yeah.
me? This is their audience.
Mm-hmm.
So why not have your audience speak into what you're doing? Oh my gosh, it made class so much fun. And then they have to do their research,
Mm-hmm.
which is part of the academic piece. They had to do presentations. They had to do their analysis,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end we would actually have Zoom meetings with the leaders of those
Mm-hmm.
record companies or entertainment companies, and they would present their findings.
Wow.
That was plenty pleasurable. The students had lasting lessons
Mm-hmm.
of, oh my gosh, I am now ready to go into the industry and be steps ahead of someone just looking at theory.
You
That
know,
was satisfaction.
yeah, there's something about the pleasure you're describing that you wanted to share, you wanted to replicate, you wanted to let everybody in on it.
Mm-hmm.
And you did.
Yeah.
And your creativity kicked in, and their creativity kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they didn't have to be there. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
they may have had to take the course, but they chose to be there. They were
Yeah.
doing it willingly, and
Yeah.
so that is. And so to me, it's the same for social media or anything we do. I'm looking to create that experience, not just that there may be money involved, but that's a transaction that's important to
Mm-hmm.
me. I was in enough terrible classes where the teacher read and didn't care if you died, choked, fell asleep. They were going to get through their material.
Yep.
We were going to jam it down your throat, whether
Yep.
you want it or not. And
Yep.
there's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
So I become a teacher, and my goal in each of my classes, undergrad and grad, was 3 or 4 hours. I wanted at the end to hear more often than not, oh, the time went so fast,
Mm-hmm.
or this was a really good class.
Yeah.
And I was so pleased at how many times I heard that. I wasn't soliciting it.
Yeah.
I wasn't, but somebody said, "Oh man, is it 9 o'clock already?" Yes.
Yes.
Now the graduate classes went 6 to 10.
Wow.
Now a lot of them were professionals. I mean, they
Mm-hmm.
were working. So how do I make the class engaging for them? Well, one of the things I would do is I would walk around the class. I never wanted to be tied to the desk because the desk, I'm behind the desk and I'm the expert.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm a learner along with you. So I would walk the classroom. Now, one night I used to have a Fitbit. Now I have my Apple Watch. But I had a Fitbit that would mark how far I walked. One night in a 4-hour class, I walked 2 miles.
Wow. That's a lot.
But nobody can sleep if the
Right.
instructor
You're moving.
is standing next to them.
Sure.
Then I would, there are always empty seats in the class. I would take a seat in the class
Yeah.
someplace,
Yeah.
and I would ask a question, and people would try to find me. I said, "Well, don't talk to me. Talk to the class.
Yeah.
Talk to one another.
Sure.
I'm just here." And my classes were always highly rated. People, when we were hoping we would get you, but at the end of the night, there was that feedback. There was, and if people slept, I took it as a personal affront that I had failed,
Yeah.
that I could not be engaging enough, that I kept them energized, and they were paying a lot of money.
Absolutely. Yeah. Huge
They
investment.
were the customer. So
Yes.
how could I? Now I didn't get any more money to do this,
Right.
and I hope I never criticized anybody who didn't do it, but I certainly learned from them of what I didn't want to do. But this is the whole purpose brings pleasure, not just as we're talking here, not just for the person, the holder of purpose, but for the people who are the beneficiaries of it.
Yeah. And you will receive confirmation from them that helps feed that pleasure that I felt. For me, my class there was always a wait list. People wanted to get in my class.
That's a good sign.
That's a great sign. When they graduated, a lot of them were able to get jobs at companies that I had previously worked because of the contact. And when they got that job and they called me, they're like, "Thank you." That was another pleasure that I was
Yeah.
able to help them make it easier for them.
Yeah.
And then probably one of the biggest pleasures was when I didn't even know that I was nominated. I was selected as the undergraduate professor of the year at my school. And I'm like, that's the students validating that they had pleasure, they learned. So that was a validation of I was definitely on purpose.
Wow. Yeah, and you didn't do it for the award.
I did not.
But the award was that was
That
the
was the
fruit. That
was
was
the
fruit.
fruit.
That
Perfect.
was
Yes. Yeah.
so it now when I've spoken in a church setting, people will say to me, "Oh, that was a good message," and
Yeah.
I will say to, "What did I say?" Now I'm not trying to capture them,
Yeah.
but I want to see if they can tell me. If they can't tell me, I'm not blaming them.
Right.
It's me.
Did you
And
communicate well?
so was I clear enough in the points?
Right.
So we mentioned in one of the earlier podcasts the person in Cuba who ran into me, who saw me in Los Angeles. I had several other experiences. Another time in an airport, a woman was looking at me and said, "Do I know you?" And yes, "Are you John Stanko?" And I was just thinking about you the other day. I was having a tough time at my work, and I was in a church, and you did a message, "Whistle while you work." And she said, "I remember," and it really, I said, "Well, thank you for sharing that. It was so good." She leaves. That's 7 years ago. And she remembered my message from 7 years ago. Check.
Yeah.
Good feedback.
Correct.
2 weeks later, I'm in getting some stationery. I'll just say it was time management stuff. Woman in front of me in the line turns around and says, "You're John Stanko." I said, "Oh, I am." I said, "I use this stuff all the time." She said, "I was just thinking about you the other day." She went on to do the same thing. I estimated she had heard me 5 years ago.
Wow.
So you don't listen to somebody like that unless and the Bible verse I always went from, it says they listened to Jesus with delight. And I was a part of my pain that we talked about was 11 years I was an associate pastor and I spoke 2 times. And the second time I spoke was the last Sunday I was there.
Wow.
So I had 550 Sundays, almost 600 Sundays to watch other people.
Wow.
Some of them were really good, Stacy. Some of them were okay. Some of them were abysmal. I watched the people practically fainting from boredom and disinterest. And for 11 years, I said, if I ever go out, if I ever get the chance, I want to be like Jesus. I want to be where the crowd listens. Because when you go to Israel, you realize they walk for days. Sat for days, had to walk home for days, didn't know where they were going to get their meals, just to have the opportunity to listen to him. I said, that's what I want, without apology. Now, what do I have to do to get there?
Get that. Yeah.
How can, there has to be the content, there has to be the delivery, I can use my humor, I can make room for questions, we talk about what they want to talk about, which is really what I want to talk about, but I'm letting it come from them.
Yeah.
This club, wow, is it 9 o'clock already? I used to have classes, and in one situation I was asked to teach black literature. They didn't have anybody else to teach it. They knew I had some exposure and background, and I had lived, I was pastor in Eatonville where Zora Neale Hurston had come from, so she was my heroine.
Florida,
So I used her as the foundation. I couldn't get the students to go home. The class ends at 9 o'clock, 9:30, go home. 9:40, go home. 9:45, go home. They wouldn't go home. That's feedback.
That is great feedback. Yep.
And it's also telling me you're doing what it is. Now, it's not about people, it's not about numbers, but if it's children, if it's elderly, you're so sweet. I love spending time with you.
That's good. That's great feedback.
That's the feedback you
Yeah.
want.
That is. That's
Purpose brings pleasure
Yes.
to a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
And Stacy, podcasting with you has brought pleasure to me.
Oh,
And so, a quick thought to review over the last 8 episodes and sessions. We started so long ago, and here we are at the end of just this iteration. We'll be back. We hope to do some interviews. We want to keep sharing our story, but just some thoughts over the life of this podcast as we come to this final episode for this portion.
Yeah, I hope the takeaway is everyone has purpose. They've got to understand that you are not an accident. You are here on earth on purpose. And the best that you can do is find your purpose. Find out what your purpose is. Operate in that. And you're going to go through those 7 P's that we talked about. And I would suggest that they start with the very basic.
Yes.
I wrote this book on purpose so you would know yours. Great book. It helped me. It's the foundation. I've lived that book for almost 30 years. And now here I am still walking out in my purpose. And now, I'm hoping this information will help someone I know we're going to be looking for feedback.
Sure.
If they have questions, what we can
Well,
do to
and then
help.
there's our project,
And
Pivot
then we've
on
got,
Purpose. We went and wrote a book based on our experience from the first book. Now, it's not just a rehash of the first book.
No.
It's you living it. And you've
Lived
been so
experience,
free with your information on these podcasts and in the book.
Yeah.
You tell your story, which, again, we've talked about accessibility and all those things. And then I come in, like and pontificate and makes a, but that's, and we have anchor points.
Right.
We have what's the relevance, but we're not just rehashing the first book. This is our journey.
Yes.
Now that we've reconnected, and it's like we were together, and then we took a journey, and now we've come back together. We've merged again, and now we're telling what happened on the curves and where we've been and what we've learned, but now how we believe it can help other people. And we're desperate to do it only because it's so valuable.
It is valuable.
It's so important.
Life is worth living when you live on purpose. And something that I really want our audience to understand is Dr. John Stanko is an expert, subject matter expert when it comes to purpose. He was doing purpose before it was popular, before there were millions of copies sold, before it was cool. But, you just didn't have, we just didn't know about you.
Yeah.
I had the honor and the pleasure to meet you 30 years ago. But now we want to make sure that others may. And it's a whole new generation of people.
Yeah, and thank you for raising that, because I determined my goal was to be the best purpose coach in the world. Now, I'd say the rankings are up to God. I don't know how you would quantify that. However, that gave me my marching orders, Stacy, to become exposed to as much as I could. I feel like if somebody asked me, did you read Simon Sinek? Did you read this? And I didn't, I had failed them. So I wanted to read everything there was. I've developed resources for 30 years to go alongside with this. This podcast is a part of it. So my goal was to be the best in the world that I could be. Now, again, that's up to God. And I never really stopped to think about it, but I just share it because that was my objective, to develop myself. And that was part of the pain and part of the pleasure. And so, and that's why I want to take questions. That's why I want to be accessible, because I can draw on the resources that I've developed over the years. And now the thought of you developing your own resources. And we talked at the beginning for women to kind of to take the message and make it relevant, and as a woman of color, to do the same thing, which I just would stand on my chair and applaud and say, how can I help? What can I do? Because you'll put your own fingerprints on it. You'll mold it and shape it in a way that I could never see, that I could never understand. So if I contribute to that in some small way, I would, I will be very honored and very grateful. But for now, I think we need to bring episode 8 to a close.
Bring it to a close, absolutely. But this has been wonderful. Can't thank you enough for sharing so much great information.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you for sharing your story. Thanks to all of you for being with us. And now stay with us, because we've got more stuff that's going to help you along the way. So this is Dr. John Stanko, Dr. Stacy Meredith signing off from Pivot on Purpose. But we'll be around. We trust that you will be too. See you soon.